Hi, this is Greg in Pensacola, Florida. I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel. Today I'd like to talk to you about what I've been printing on my 3D printer for the last week, some things that went really good, and some things that didn't go too good. So stand by, and I'm going to readjust the camera. We'll look down at the table here, and we'll go over some of the things I've been working on. All right, I've got the camera pointed down at the table. We'll take a look at a few of the things I've been working on. In a previous video, and I know on the slideshow that I've had running on my other videos, you'll see the dice tray. And I know I talked about this, about the scaling and the prototyping on this. Well, you know, that's a War Machine logo in there. That's the Kador logo. So I wanted to make a dice tray for my Retribution box. So I jumped up on the Tinkercad, and I threw another box together. And so I was working on this. This might be a little bit, I don't know how that white is showing up, but we'll see when it's done. And what this is the bottom level of the print as it was printing until I realized I was off center. So Tinkercad is really the one program that I can actually get some stuff made in right now. I'm in an AutoCAD class, so that's moving along better. So hopefully my spacing and things like that on my models will be much more precise and accurate when I try to do it in the center. Because if there is a way to do it in the Tinkercad, somebody leave that in the comments. That if I can pick a point on each side and then stretch it out to the edges to tell the distance apart. So I just canceled the print, not a big deal. This is a pretty big print. This is almost 7 inches by 7 inches on the bed. So that's a large print. Again, I print on the Makergear M2. My bed's 8 inches by 10 inches by 8 inch high print volume. So then I started playing around with the box again. So, you know, here's the box that printed on there. So this here, it finished printing, but as it was printing, I noticed that it's way too high. I designed it way too high up in the air. This logo, I like how it came out in the box. I put a logo over here. Didn't really care for how I did the Retribution logo back here in the back. And then I decided to put the logo inside the dice, and that was a mistake because that logo is way too detailed for that small of a hole. Because on this, when I printed his full-size tray, he uses 25mm dice, so these were all 1-inch squares going across the whole thing. So the Kador logo looked just as good as it does in the bottom of the tray as it did on his final print. So this right here, this is a learning experience. It didn't cost that much filament. My print settings are probably a little wacky on there because it's a little rough on one side. So I got things more dialed in throughout the week on the printer, and things have been printing better. But I'm going to reprint this. You'll see this come up in the next week or two again, and I'll actually have the finished product that I was looking to get from the beginning. So next, Duke 44 from Destiny. Bunch of other channels print this gun on there. So this is on my first video I showed you I had one piece of it printed. That was just this piece right here. And if you notice one silver is shinier than the other, this is an eSun regular silver filament, and this is an eSun PLA Plus silver. So there's more stuff in the PLA Plus because it's more of a matte finish than over here. Not a big deal because in the end it's going to be painted anyways. I didn't glue it together. All I have right now is it press fit together. But this came out really nice. I mean, this is eSun PLA Plus right there. The handles come off in 2 pieces. And then this is a working lever action. Not lever action, but you know, the magazine comes out. The shell's on the inside for it. And then, you know, this spins without any trouble. And let me see if it pops right off. And then this separates into 2 pieces. So, you know, you saw me holding it in my hands, and it was just pressed fit together, and these pieces fit good. No finishing work has been done on any of the pieces. This is exactly how they came off the printer. Now, when I talked earlier, before I readjusted the camera, I talked about a couple things that did not go so well this week. Well, if you look at this piece, and you look at this piece, that was originally going to be this. So what ended up happening today, I jinxed myself in the last video, is I had a jam. I had my first jam, filament jam, on my printer. And the first thing that happens when you get a filament jam is you go, oh my God. And you get pretty stressed out because you're like, wow, now my printer's jammed on there. So what happens is the filament can get clogged up in the nozzle on the front. And I think what exasperated that problem, that why it jammed, is I printed all those Guild Ball templates and I switched out 5 or 6 colors of filament, one right after the other. And every color of filament has a different property, even though it's the same manufacturer on there. So I think me doing that and not running any cleaning filament through the printer helped, with that jam that happened. So this printed up to about this far and then it stopped extruding. So whatever printer you buy, one of the first things I would suggest to do before you key in that credit card number is go to the site's webpage and then go to their forums. See what it looks like. See if there's a how-to. See if there's a tech support. See if there's a general chat. People, see if there's conversation happening on your printer's forum on there. If you go to the Makergear M2 forum, people are talking every day. And you have super users in that forum that every problem that I'm probably going to experience, they've already seen it, they've already worked through it, and they have tips on how to do that. So I pulled up the forum, I went to the how-to, and right there is how to clear a jam with pictures, illustrated, and it took me about 10 minutes to get the head off the printer into my hand. I cleared the filament out of it, and then I put it back in, and I was printing okay. I had another jam the next night. So what I found out is, up in the hot end of where the filament comes down, then you have your nozzle. That's your actual tip that's down at the end of the printer. Maybe I'll slap a picture in here of where that tip is when I render the video out. But, it kind of baked in. You're supposed to be able to look in that nozzle and be able to see daylight straight out the other end. I was not. I thought that nozzle was clean because when you get the printer, the nozzle's already on it. You don't know what it looks like in its state. And so then I'm like, man, how am I going to get that out? Because I didn't order any extra nozzles. The nozzles are cheap. They're under $10. I do have a couple on order right now. So in case this happens again, I can work on clearing the nozzle and then screw a separate nozzle on and not lose any printing time. Well, I did some research, which involved a Google search on how to clear a jam or how to clean a nozzle from PLA filament, and somebody out there did a website where they took pieces of PLA and put it in different chemicals to see if it would dissolve. Well, sure enough, let me grab it. This JB Weld type stuff that people are out there that they have, and turns out I had it right here, this Ambroid Pro Weld. Man, this stuff right here, outside of being crazy toxic, has, let me find out what the chemical is. It is methylene chloride. This right here dissolves PLA filament. So I took some of this, I put it in a little shot glass. I dropped the little brass nozzle in, left it there for 3 hours, came back later, pulled it out with a pair of tweezers, rinsed it off, and it was like showroom clean. All the PLA was gone. It was completely dissolved. And I took the nozzle. I put it back on the printer. I've had 10, 12 successful prints since this week. I've done some small stuff, some larger stuff. No issues at all. So I get this from my local hobby store. And this isn't your comic book type hobby store. Probably isn't going to have this. This is going to be like more of a model train type hobby store. They have it. But again, think about how you want to clear yours. This just happens to work on mine. It's a brass tip. I soaked it in there, and it's good to go. So for me, this worked fine. You can look on how you want to do yours, but this will dissolve. Methylene chloride will dissolve PLA, but it's a bear to have it shipped. So if you have a train store that has this type stuff in it, then you'll be all right. Okay, so now we got that out of the way. We did the printing. I mean, we got the printer back together. We got everything going right again. I did some small test prints of a few things really quick, and then I'm part of another Kickstarter that just finished. It's printed3dscenery.com. Now I'm gonna have to look. 3dprintedscenery.com, just get a Kickstarter. And it's a bunch of fantasy terrain, but it's for more outside fantasy terrain. So what I ended up printing so far from that, and this just finished up last night, and this is not glued together, by the way, so it is going to shift all around, is this tower on here. So I wanted to test how the printer was working back out, and so I printed this. I've had no issues at all. It looks great. It's modular. I haven't done any cleanup on it. I do have some, some little bit of hairs up here, but that's not a big deal. That happens when it's moving back and forth. But it is modular. There are floors that you can print. So if you want to just take and maybe do half the tower and put a floor right here so you can put figures on it, you can print the floor and put it in. I just happen to have it separated into its 6 parts right now. So it's got the base. It's got the, and then the revs is going up. And there's multiple parts for this. There's different tops. There's 3 different tops for this. So you can print and mix and match these pieces here how you want. I just printed these out standard. And if you look, if you see this shine going on right here, this is another thing I changed this week. Look at the bottom of this print. It's matte, it's flat, it's fine. Then look at the bottom of this print that came off the bed. I was using build tack when I was printing some stuff before, and when they say stuff sticks to build tack, they are not lying. It sticks crazy good. The problem is it sticks so well, I wrecked 3 sheets of it into 2.5 months I've had the printer now. And the stuff is just too expensive. You don't pay, it's $10 a sheet to put it down. And it's so hard to get your prints off. I'm not using the heated bed. I'm not using any of that stuff. The PLA just sticks so good to that surface that it made it so hard to get off. And of all the little things that did it, it was one of these barrels was on there. And all I did was, pop it up off, and it tore a chunk out of it. So the build tack, really, it is great stuff, but it's just too much money, and I'm not getting the length or number of prints off the sheets that I want to get off it, so I stopped. I grabbed my Kapton tape, put it back on the glass. The stuff is a pain to put on because you got to put it on in strips, but it gives you that nice high gloss surface on your prints. And guess what? Everything stuck to it. And as soon as the bed cooled off, as soon as it got back down to 35 degrees Celsius or whatever it is on there at its lower end, the pieces I can just take and they just pop right off. I don't need to use a tool to remove them. I don't need any of that stuff. I just let the bed cool a little bit and it's fine. Couldn't do that with the build tack because I didn't heat the bed anyways. I mean, that stuff was on. So to try to alleviate the Kapton and the strips, because it is, you try to want to make it so you don't get any gaps or air bubbles and things in there. I decided to buy some 8x10 sheets, or actually 9x12 sheets, and I found this pet tape. It's actually I got the thing right here. They're actually sheets like this. So I got 10 sheets for less than $20, and we're going to see how this stuff holds up. It's supposed to be a little bit stronger than the Kapton tape. This is a 0.6 millimeter. So I put a sheet on last night, and you've got to put it on using this wet water method where you spray the glass, and that way you can reposition the sheet on there so you can scrape all the air bubbles out. It went pretty good. I've never done that before, so that was the first time with that. I'll get better as I go with it, but my glass surface is flat. Everything's dry. I'm going to start printing on it tonight for the first time. So these are some of the pieces from this week. I got the Duke 44 out there. I'm going to figure out something to do with that. I got the towers right here. I'm going to do a full review. I need to print more of this stuff from that Kickstarter out because he's done really good with releasing the files already. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to print here. The next thing I'm going to shoot is the Dragon Lock Kickstarter review. That's the core set from that Kickstarter, and we'll get that video up. But I appreciate you being here this week, and it's just giving you a little show of some of the stuff that I was printing, and just some stuff about my printing experience for the week, because I'm pretty new. So the people that are watching this that haven't bought a printer, you're going to go through the same stuff. You're going to have some printer jams. You might have some filament that acts up on a spool, you know, but for the most part, let me put that right there. That is a really nice looking piece. And Kirby Downey is the one that designed this model. If you go to myminifactory.com, and I'll put a link in the show notes, you can download this model also. It does take, you will need an 8-inch bed to print this piece right here, because it almost goes edge to edge on there. All the other pieces can be printed on something a little smaller, because like this piece right here will just lock up, you know, in like that. So it's got not, and so you'll print both halves of it and things. So, but you know, myminifactory.com, there's a ton of awesome stuff on there. If you got a decent printer and it's got a large bed, you're going to find tons of things to print on that site. And their thing is it's guaranteed to print, so, which it is. So these came out really good. If you want to see the quality of the print, again, this is the eSun PLA Plus Silver. And so I think that's it for today. Thanks to new subscribers that have shown up. Got a lot more videos coming out. You know, we're going to review the Dragon Lock. We'll review some more of the 3D printable scenery Kickstarter. And then I've got a War Machine video battle report that I'll have up here in the next week too. So thanks for watching tonight. Thanks to new subscribers. If you are a current subscriber, please like the video. And I will talk to you again. Bye.